7th of February, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Okay.
Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Samanavshi here in Yerushalayim, Care Zoom. This is our second shir. We're learning in the Hilchos Mishnah Berura, Hilchos Purim. That's in volume 6 of your Mishnah Berura. And Siman Taf Reish Pei Zion. Chayev Kriyas Megillah. Those who are chayev in the reading of the Megillah. We're in the middle of Mr. was in Sif Base, so I suggest maybe we'll review Sif Base. Again, Taf Reish Pei Zion, Sif Base. Yeah, would you like to?
Okay, let's see. V'chein Akiparim.
What's that? Taf Reish Pei Zion, Taf Reish Pei Zion.
Oh, I'm in Chet. Okay, hold on. Taf Reish Pei. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so Mevatling Talmud?
Yes.
Torah. Okay. Mevatling Talmud Torah Lishmoa Mikra Megillah.
Wait, I'm not following. I'm on Taf Reish Pei Zion. What sif are you on?
Bet on top. The Mishna, the text on top.
The Kabbalah, right?
Bet.
Mivatlin, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Mevatling Talmud Torah Lishmoa Mikra Megillah. Okay, so one can, I guess, set aside Torah to listen to the reading of the Megillah. Kava Chomer Lisha'ar Mitzvot Shel Torah Shekulam Nidchi Mipnei Mikra Megillah. And even more so, the mitzvot of the Torah, all of them can be
Did you like suspended? Let's say
suspended. Right, okay. Because of the reading of the Megillah.
Right.
Okay. She'ein lecha davar she'nidcha mikra Megillah. Hold it. She'ein lecha. One does not have anything to push the reading of the Megillah?
Because there's nothing which will that will suspend the reading of the Megillah.
Okay, chutz mimeit mitzvah shein lo kruvim, one that the burial of a body that one finds.
Right? There's no one else to bury it. Meaning
No one else to bury. Shehapogea bo kovro techila v'achar kach koreh. And then what he goes, he meets.
It means that if he encounters a mace mitzvah, a body that's requiring to burial.
Be buried.
Right?
Okay, so first you do that, and after that you go to read the Megillah.
Yes.
Looks like.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
But burying a corpse is likely to be something that's going to take you a long time.
Yeah, it's
the reading.
It's by so even a person who's experienced and strong and has a shovel. I mean, not everyone's walking down the. We're not talking about you. Well, the Mr. Brewer is going to describe the case, and we're talking about you found this mace in the field. It's not in a city, right? And we're talking about you found. Not many people walking along the way happen to have a spade and a pick and a shovel. Like you're talking about excavating quite a lot of dirt. It's for someone who's not experienced. It could probably, I would imagine, it takes a good 2-3 hours to do that, and it's I'm sure it's quite exhausting work. right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anybody who has gone to a levaya in America and tried to make sure that that it was all filled in. Everybody has like walked away, and you're still shoveling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's
And
just
that's just filling it in. That's not excavating it.
excavating was is much more. When you're down knee deep into the ground, you've got to heave that dirt up onto the ground. Like it's not the dirt's not going to jump up out. When they talk about 6 feet under, they're talking about that you're pretty deep down into the ground.
And there's all the rocks and the tree roots, and
Yeah.
so it's a lot of difficulties.
Right. It's by no means an easy job. So yeah. But that's a whole question. I mean, what are you supposed to do if you don't, if you only have your bare hands? It's an impossible job.
I mean, I would presume that you have to take responsibility to get some help.
Right.
Get it done.
Right. So nowadays, we've got our telephones and such, and GPSs and all this stuff. But you go back even 100 years ago, if you're out there in the fields, and you're out there in the fields, like that's it, right? So yeah. So it's a little bit difficult to imagine the case as it is, but that's there is such a thing as a mace mitzvah. And so again, in our time, so you'd obviously call one of your local rebbeim and ask what to do, and they would probably call the Chevra Kadisha, the burial society, and these people that's their calling, so they're prepared for these things. So we'll discuss that. The Mishna was going to discuss about if there's a Chevra Kadisha, there's a communal burial society. So
Right.
that.
I guess if you can turn over responsibility to somebody, then it might not take more than a few hours.
Right. And it could be, again, I don't know. I haven't really gone into the actual halachas of Meis Mitzvah. It could be, I'm not sure. I have no idea. It could be maybe it's just like a temporary grave. It's not supposed to be like the permanent grave. Maybe it's enough just to cover the person over. I have no idea. I really don't know.
Right.
So
and come back later.
Something like that. Right. But because now as it stands, like unfortunately, if a person's left out there in the fields, so the birds are going to get to work and the animals are going to get to work, and that's what you want to avoid.
Right.
Yeah, let's see the Mr. Berura. This will begin in Sif Cotton Zion, if I'm not, Zion. Mr. Berura, Sif Cotton Zion.
Let's see, Zion. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I lost my place. Zion. Okay, Vatling Talmud Torah. So one is, I guess, allowed to put aside the study of Torah. Okay, to hear the Megillah. Rotzelamar, so that is to say, Ach the Talmud Torah shakul neged kol hamitzvot. Okay, so the study, let's see, of Torah, shakul is equal to all of the mitzvot.
Correct. Meaning this is like a discount. It's the Rosh Hashanah, even though the Talmud Torah shakul keneged kol mitzvahs, even though they're learning Torah, is equivalent to all the other mitzvahs, right?
Okay. Vafilu haita Talmud Torah shel chavura gedola Shomei Anashim Shalomdim Be'ezav Bayit. Okay, and even, let's see, if there was a study of Torah of a large group of even 100 men who are studying in one location, I guess.
Right, good.
Okay. Afilu hachi tzarich levatel vayelech likrota b'tzibur mishum b'rav am hadrat melech. Okay, so even if there's a lot of people in one place, even they need to suspend the Torah study and go and listen with the community, because of Barav, the majority of people Hadrat Melech.
Like in the multitudes of the masses is the glory of the king.
Oh, the glory, Hadrat.
Yeah,
Oh, Hadar. Yeah, okay.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's right, man. Right, exactly. Hadras, right. The glory, the Hadar of the king, correct.
Oh, okay. Hadrat Melech. Okay. The Katav Chaye Adam Mikol Makom Misha Mitpalel Kol Shana V'Kiviut B'Minyan Hamiuchad Lo Lehipa'el Sham. Okay, and the Chaye Adam writes that Mikol Makom, even though he prays, let's see, all year in a fixed minyan, I guess. That requires him to pray there?
Even because of a chayada mikom makom, nevertheless, mishim is pal kol shana b'kavias b'minyan hamayuchad lo. Meaning, nevertheless, the person who davens the whole year regularly in a minyan which is exclusive to him, mayuchad lo, that's exclusive to him. There's spaloshan for him to daven there.
Okay, ein sarich b'tzibor. No, that's not the.
Ein sur lelech. That's down further in the down.
Ein sarich. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, lelech lebeit knesset. Oh, even though he's not required to go to the shul.
So he skips his regular minyan, is that what it's saying?
No, I mean, the person who has a regular minyan, which is special to himself, right? He is not obligated to go and leave his personal minyan to go to the minyan that's being held in the Beit Knesset.
Oh, he's not required, I see.
Right. Not recorded, you're right.
So what's the case here? Why would I think he was required? Obviously, he can always go to another reading.
Right, but you might think because the main reason why you have to even stop learning Torah to go hear the Kriyas Megillah in the Beit Knesset is because of Rav Am Hadras Melech, and you have the many people gathered in shul to hear the Kriyas Megillah. That's a very big Kiddush Hashem. So you might think even a person who has his own private minyan would have to leave his private minyan and go to the main Beit Knesset. So we're told no, not that way.
So in other words, there's some kind of a major reading with a lot of people, and it conflicts. That's the case.
Right, meaning he has a minyan of 20 people in his own private house. Right, and that he always davens there, and they always daven there too. And now in the main shul, they have 350 people, right? So you would think the extra added 20 people to the 350 people already gathered there, that would add to the glory, the Rav Adras Melech, and therefore they would have to leave their private minyan and go to the public minyan. So you
Ah.
see that you don't have to do that.
Got it. Thank you.
That would be, that would apply to, if there's a kollel, that there's 10 men in a kollel in some room somewhere in the building, they
Right.
can make their own minyan.
Well, no, if they don't daven, if they're only learning there, no. Apparently from the Mishna, if they're only learning there, right, and they, let's say they only learn there, but they usually go somewhere else to daven, so they should have to leave where they're learning and go to where they daven. But if they always if they learn there and they also daven there, apparently it would be okay for them to continue learning and daven there when they have their regular time for, in this case, Ma'ariv.
Okay, so that just learning alone does not qualify as a makam
No.
to say the Megillah, even
not
if you have a minyan.
Right, not in this case, right. It could be because if they're regularly seen in the Beit Knesset, they regularly go to shul for Ma'ariv, right? Even though you have to realize that except for Yerushalayim and a few other places in the world, usually the Megillah is read at Ma'ariv time right after Megillah's Esther, right after the Tainus Esther, right?
Yeah.
So usually they have an early Ma'ariv, right? And people, they want to hear the Megillah and they want to go and break the fast afterwards, right? So normally, let's say normally, I'll tell you the exact example. For example, Purim's in about 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks or so away from us now, right? So let's say Shkia is going to be probably close to say 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, right? So the earliest you're going to be able to daven Ma'ariv is say 6:20, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this kollel goes to 7 o'clock. This kollel, right? They go to 7 o'clock at night, and then usually after 7 o'clock, at 7 o'clock they daven Ma'ariv at 7 o'clock, right? But nobody is going to wait till 7 o'clock to daven Ma'ariv on Motzi Tainus Esther, because they want to read the Megillah and they want to be able to break the fast, right? So they can't claim that since they usually learn there, they'll make their own minyan at 6:20 in the kollel, and then they'll daven Ma'ariv and hear the Megillah there. No, because normally they wouldn't be davening at that time, and normally they would either be in shul or they'd be going to another minyan.
But no, what I mean, usually, if you have a kollel that's using a room somewhere, and they usually take a break and daven mincha. So does that qualify as a makam for tefillah?
I'm not sure, because the Mishna verse says a person has a minyan that's miyuchad line, right? Kol hashana mikom ha'mishim ispalo kol hashana b'kaviyas b'minyan miyuchad lo l'spalo sham, right? So if they daven Ma'ariv there, it could be that they would be able to daven Ma'ariv. I know if Mincha would help them. If they never daven Ma'ariv there, I don't know if the fact that they daven Mincha there would help them. Not sure.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the Kollel Jungelite, they come from all over the city to for them to go back to their their regular shul,
Right.
would be they'd have to end early and travel all the way there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. The fact is that they're probably not going to be learning on Tainus Esther in the afternoon anyway, right? Or at least they won't have the regular. In normal cases, they probably not going to have the regular kollel.
Yeah, I hear. Yeah.
But we can learn on like regular on Tainus Esther. I'm not afraid. We can learn on Tainus Esther.
We can? Can't we get a break?
You'll get a break, sure.
Looking for some way out.
Okay, let's continue. Passing the earthen
Okay.
side.
Chet, Kedei Tzarko.
This is the needs and the needs for the mnes. The nifter requires a certain amount of people to for the burial.
Okay. So let's see. Emilashon zeh mukach da'afshehu ba'ir. Okay, so that is mukach required for the
Right.
people of the city, I guess.
Right. Milashon zeh, from this expression that the Ramah used over here, actually this is the Ramah. From this lashon that the Ramah inserted over here, it's evident, muchrak, it's evident, shaf be'ir sheish lo korovim, that even in the city where there are relatives there of the nifter.
Okay, so they can bury him. Deshuveno mutal vizayon. Okay, so that there should not take any humiliation.
Meaning, if it's going to be even in the city, it's evident from this that even in the city where he has relatives, and therefore, since there are relatives there, we assume in the city there are relatives, right? He won't be mutal bebezoin. He won't be lying in disgrace.
Oh, okay.
What is the shuv?
Further, meaning once there is in the city and there are relatives there, shuv further from that point, he's not going to have any disgrace involved, because there will be relatives there to attend to him.
Okay, but Hazri Zut, the Karvo, Kodem Shehu Rak Tosefet Kavod Lo. So they hurry to bury him before any additional?
Right,
Additional.
right. Meaning Shuv ena mutu bebezoin vaz rizus lekroivoi kodem hu rak tosas covered. That in the city where there are relatives and therefore there's not going to be any him lying in disgrace, and there'll be zrizos lekroivo, there'll be quick to bury him, koidem, who, meaning first of all, before the Kriyas Megillah, they'll be quick to bury him before the Megillah is read. That situation is rak tosus covered. So that's simply a extra added honor to him, to bury him as fast as possible.
Oh, okay.
That interest in having him buried as soon as possible, that's only considered to be a tosefes stone, an extra added honor to him, that he's buried quickly. Very important to bury as fast as possible.
Okay. Afilu hachi mutar
So I'm sorry. So what is it that's extra?
The honor that you're giving him by burying him quickly as possible.
And therefore you don't do it?
No, then we'll see now. What we have, again, you have a choice between Megillah and the burial. So what's going to take place? And this extra quickness about doing the burial first, that's only considered to be tosus covered, right? So
So in other words, you have to, you're saying to yourself, if I can just leave it and the relatives will come, or I can try and do it very quickly. Is that the choice?
To a certain extent, yes. Though there's actually other aspects of what's the choices here. We'll see in the Mr. Brewer. He'll explain it. Hold on.
Okay. Afilu hachi mutar lahakdimo kodem mikra Megillah. So even it's permitted to bury him before the reading of the Megillah.
Right, even though, as Mr. Burr said, it's only a Tosefis covered, right? It's a
Mhm.
Tosefis covered. Nevertheless, for that Tosefis covered, you're permitted to read the Megillah, do the burial first.
Okay.
And when it says before the reading of the Megillah, does that mean you have to be able to finish before the Megillah starts, or does it mean you're pushing it off and going to a later Megillah?
No, you're gonna do the burial first before the Megillah.
But what if you don't have enough time?
I don't know that we didn't touch on that situation yet. Up until now, we're still talking about where you have time for both. The question is only which do you do first, but you're going to be able to do both.
Ah, I see. Okay.
When there's no time, we'll get to that later.
Is there a time limit on the reading of the Megillah?
You have the
In
whole
other
day
words,
long.
huh?
You have the whole, you
Right.
have the
So
whole
in other
day.
words, at night, we're talking about a burial that has to take place before Shkia.
Um,
Can a burial take place after Shkia?
you could do a burial at night. Yeah, burial.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. Look, it all depends on state and local. In America, it depends on state and local laws. Sometimes they don't let you bury after a certain time.
Right,
During
right.
lunchtime,
But-
you can't bury on lunchtime. You can't bury on Thanksgiving. You can't bury on Valentine's Day, George Washington's Day, Martin Luther King Day. You can't bury, right? So all depends on local and state laws.
Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to understand is that if you, since you can read the Megillah all night, what's the problem?
Exactly. But nevertheless, right? The point is you have time to do both. So the question is, which one do you do first, right? So Mrs. Berura is saying, even though it's only a Tosefis covered, it's an extra added honor that you're doing for the nifter, that you bury him quick as possible. That still takes precedence over Mikra Megillah. Okay.
So it seems that it comes out that the burial always comes first.
Yeah, right. Well,
I mean, what situation would come out where we say, when we get back from the cemetery, I mean, when we get back from the Megillah reading, then we'll bury him. There's no scenario that could happen.
okay, we'll have to see. We're gonna have to stop now because we've gone a bit over time. But later on in the Mr. Brewer, you'll see he brings a case to where the Mikra Megillah comes first. We'll see. Hold on till tomorrow, and we'll get to it. It's a shame.
Okay.
Okay, everyone should have a good afternoon. It's a shame. Hope to see you all
Okay.
tomorrow. Thank you,
You
Barry.
will.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
well.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Sure. Shalom, bye.